Oh no! No more wee bits!
There is no doubt that CO2 is on the rise. And with CO2 rises temperature and decreasing soils. Previous experiments showed that CO2 would offset and would actually increase the yield of crops such as wheat and maize by about 30%, which is quite a bit. So, CO2, is it still going to lead to an increase in crop yield, or is it not going to be as advanced as we might have thought? Long and his crew, Long and Netal, set out and they began to do some face experiments. So these are free air concentration enrichment experiments where they would pump CO2 through jets into the area, kind of like this area right here, and they'll pump it in and measure yield growth over a year or 2 years, and to see what was going on. See if there was actually going to be the offset in CO2 as past experiments had suggested, because they felt that the enclosed and greenhouse solutions weren't giving them the correct data. What they found from these face studies was that there definitely was not an increase, or well, not a dramatic increase that they were suspecting that would come from CO2 when temperatures rise and the soils became drier. However, both experiments showed that the plants would use water efficiently, but not all plants responded in the same way. So they tested this on C3 plants and C4 plants, and what they found was there were increases in the C3 plants, and but nothing happened to the C4 plants. But this was as expected, because the C4 plants are already saturated in CO2, so they wouldn't have an effect and an increase in yield. And they suggested that the data was all wrong, that the photosynthesis within these would have been off-splattered, and everything that acts on this experiment, acts on these closed house experiments, would have been affected. So that's why they brought in these space experiments. They didn't do any studies on tropical climates, plants and tropical climates, but they drew some conclusions to CO2 from the temperate, that in tropical climates there wouldn't be much increase. After the study, they sent out a warning that maybe our food supply and our food security isn't that good, that we're basing our ideas on these experiments that went on years ago, but that they didn't correctly analyse what was going on. However, this paper did have its bias. It was biased towards the agriculture industry, encouraging them to grow more because we need it. It was also biased towards neglecting the other experiments and pushing for the face experiment. And finally, there was a very enormous that would unfairly dismiss the previous data, and this would soon be their downfall. And he really got criticism immediately after he published this paper. There was a response from a team run by Tabilo, only a couple of months later published, saying a response titled "The Crop Response to Elevated CO2 and World Food Supply," a comment on Food for Thought by Long et al. And they said that the recent conclusions from Long et al.'s face data showing lower crop yield response to elevated CO2 was wrong, and it casts serious doubts on estimates of world food supply in the 21st century. They were able to say that the magnitude of crop response of elevated CO2 is actually not drastically different. It is actually rather similar to the previous results that were recorded from the greenhouse experiments and from the closed-in experiments, and that it wasn't actually drastically different. And they argued that lower crop yield would not affect the food supply for future. They go and conclude by saying that to do it right, you gotta get not confused in the metadata. So, what does this mean for the future? Is CO2 really going to offset temperature in soils and increase yield by up to 30%? Or is it going to be just a small increase and possibly a decrease that Long et al. Suggests through his face experiments? I don't know about you, but imagine a world without Weet-Bix, without rice, muesli bars. It would all be gone. They might become sour wheat. Or are we just going to start genetically modifying everything? Or will these things cope? This is up to you. What do you believe? What do you think is going to happen?